Hello, my name is Kai, and I am a bit of a rambler. I like to travel, learn, and tell stories. And today I want to talk about certification, because it's something I didn't really think about while I was teaching because of my specific situation, having been hired without certification, and then really only working at 2 schools while I was teaching, and the second school was wholly owned by me, so again, certification wasn't really an issue. But obviously, most new teachers who sign up for schools are wondering how to get into it and all of that. TEFL is such a fundamental piece of that puzzle, I thought I should get into it. If you're looking for a job teaching English abroad, a TEFL certificate can make a big difference. Whether that's access to certain countries that require the certification, or preparing you for the teaching position, or just making you more comfortable and confident as a first-time applicant. The TEFL certificate, TEFL, Teaching English as a Foreign Language. Now, there are all sorts of certificates, but I don't know anything about the ESOL or TOEFL or any of the other ones, but I'm pretty familiar with the TEFL one because I have one of those and I've helped other people get those, and I talk about them all the time. Whenever I'm talking to someone about teaching English in China, I usually mention this Teaching English as a Foreign Language certificate. I think it's the most commonly recognized English teaching certificate, at least from all the countries I see job listings in. They usually mention a TEFL certificate if they have that as a job requirement. So what is TEFL? Teaching English as a Foreign Language is a program and certification you can get to demonstrate you know how to teach English as a foreign language, and it goes over all of the grammatical rules and also teaching methods you can use when you become an English teacher. So it is a useful certificate because it goes over all of the basics that you would need to become an English teacher. It actually goes over more than you need because generally you're going to be teaching primary school students and you're just going to do colors, basic sentences, and that kind of stuff. But the TEFL will cover, like I said, grammar and complex sentences and how to teach adults versus children. It just covers everything that a beginning English teacher would need and much more, so you'll be completely set up with the fundamentals you should know to become an English teacher. I was actually surprised. I did not have my TEFL certificate before I became an English teacher. Like I said, I just flew over there, and there's so many jobs available, it doesn't really matter if you have a TEFL certificate in China because there are so many available teaching English jobs. You're going to get a job if you're a native or fluent speaker if you fly to Asia. Most countries. Japan usually requires a TEFL certificate, and I think Vietnam requires one. But if you fly to China, you'll get a job as a fluent English speaker. You can get a job teaching English. You don't need the TEFL certificate. So let's first talk about the advantages of having the TEFL certificate, which are significant. If you have a TEFL certificate, you can teach English in any country, and you're going to get the English teaching job you apply for if they have an open position. They'll probably accept you if you don't have one, but if you have one, they'll almost certainly hire you as their teacher. Also, like I mentioned, it's really useful for learning the fundamentals and brushing up on grammar. When I took my PDF tests for my TEFL certificate, I realized I didn't know any grammar anymore, and I had to reread the grammar section so that I knew what the heck I was talking about. But that was pretty useful because then I was teaching high school kids who were going to school in the US and Canada the next year, and I could answer their questions about grammar because I actually passed the test after reading all this stuff. And even if you forget it all, after a couple weeks, it doesn't matter because you'll have at least learned it once. So if you need to teach it, you can look it up again and be like, oh, right, grammar. Yeah, so you'll definitely get the job. You'll learn all the stuff you're going to teach anyway. It does offer a couple, I think, useful real-life classroom scenarios. What do you do with a problem student? It explains how to deal with that. What do you do if the class is too loud or they aren't paying attention? It advises you on how to deal with that situation. It just, like I said, it provides a bunch of useful information for a beginner English teacher. But aside from getting you the job and, teaching you all of these fundamentals, getting the TEFL certificate also means you can ask for the highest salary. So when you're looking at a lot of these jobs, you're going to see they mention pay scales. You can get $1,500 to $2,500 a month, just as an example, in various countries. Or even $1,100 to $1,400. If you really want to go to like a place like Vietnam, who doesn't pay as much money as, say, China for English teaching, but you just want to live in that country, which makes 100% sense to me. That's what the pay scale might say, $1,100 to $1,400 or $900 to $1,200. If you have your TEFL certificate, you just say, I would like $1,200 to start. And they'll say yes if you have the TEFL certificate. It's the bargaining chip for English teachers. The only other bargaining chip is experience. That lower pay scale is for people with zero experience, no certifications, who just want to teach and won't ask for a higher salary. And you'll still be saving money because the cost of living is so low in those countries. That's why the pay is so low. But if you have the TEFL certificate, why not? Especially if you're going for money, like if you need money and that's why you want to start teaching English, which is a great reason to start teaching English as a second language. If you're in a country like Vietnam, right, like that example, let's say you broke your leg or something in the States and you have $30,000 in medical debt because you took one ambulance ride and stayed in the hospital for 4 days. That $300 a month is nice, but it's not going to make a huge difference. You know, the sliding pay scale $900 to $1,200, if it's a lower paying country, the pay bump from your TEFL certificate won't count as much. But if you're teaching in a higher paying country like China or Saudi Arabia, they can pay up to $6,000 a month. And instead of $900 to $1,200, the pay scale might be $4,000 US to $6,000 US per month. And then, boom, you're making an extra $2,000 US per month. And importantly, it's a lifetime accreditation. So you take this course once, and then you have the certification for the rest of your life. Another advantage is you'll feel more prepared because you have those fundamentals from the course and the tests before you even step foot in a classroom. So you'll be a little more confident, which is really nice if you're teaching for the first time. So, should you get a certificate? Really difficult to answer. Nowadays, I pretty much just recommend people get it because now that I have one, I know what an easy process it is. It's so painless and so simple. There's basically zero risk in taking the course and taking the tests to get certification and all of the reward that I just mentioned. I got my TEFL certificate while I was backpacking in Taiwan, living in a seasonally closed water park, which is kind of a story in itself. But there was an outlet in one of the structures, and I would sleep in that building at night. The whole water park was closed, but it was in the middle of this huge park where people played Pokemon Go during the day. So during the day, I'd walk around, play Pokemon Go with other Taiwanese people, hang out in my hammock. And then at night, I would pretend to leave the park and then walk around and then go back to the park and go into this closed water park and sleep in one of the closed buildings. Sometimes I just put up my hammock, but I got lazy one day and decided to sleep on the second floor of this like water slide or something, but it was a full building. And I realized that one of the outlets had power, so I could use my laptop at night. And I think I had been traveling for a year at that point. So I was kind of wondering, maybe I should do something because I was just loving life. I was just backpacking, but I think I just wanted to do something that seemed productive because I hadn't taught in a year or something. And I remembered my TEFL certification, and I was like, well, if I get that, I'll have that for my whole life. I felt comfortable financially, but whenever somebody would ask me, well, what do you do when your money runs out? And while that wasn't really an issue, I always said, well, if I ever need money, I'll just go back and start teaching English again. The jobs are there, and now I have years of experience, so I can take any of those jobs I want. And I would be able to get any of thousands of jobs, but I figured, well, I can have the TEFL certificate too, and then I really will be able to get any teaching job immediately with the certificate and experience. So I lived in this Pokemon Go park in Taiwan on the second floor of, I think, a water slide with an outlet and did my TEFL certificate over a week. I'd walk around during the day and play Pokemon Go with Taiwanese people, and then do another hour or two of my PDF courses in the evening when the park was empty. I'm not sure exactly how long it took, but it didn't take longer than 2 weeks, and it was self-directed. The more time you put in, the quicker the course will be. But I think even at a couple hours a day, it was only a week and a half for me. Should you get a certificate is answered really what you're looking for. If you just want to teach, or you're more interested in traveling than the financial rewards of English teaching, you don't need one. With that said, it only takes a couple weeks to get with an hour of work a day. It's all PDF, online tests, self-directed study, learn at your own pace. It lasts your entire life. You'll definitely get more money more easily if you have it. So if money is at all a consideration, yeah, get it. You'll have it forever, and you can choose which job you want, and you can choose the pay you want. And when they ask why they should pay you more, you're like, boom, TEFL. Look at this TEFL-y thing I got here. And if you look at any of the listings, job listings online, like just type in whatever country you want to go to, Tanzania English teaching jobs, chances very likely are that the only requirement they're going to have is TEFL certificate. The only other requirements I ever see are soft requirements of a college degree, university degree, or experience preferred. So you don't need it, but it gives you so many advantages, and it's such a low cost investment. I mean, financially, it only costs less than $40 to get the 160-hour certificate. Oh, there are different levels of certification. You can get a 20-hour certificate or a 240-hour certificate, and it just teaches you more things, like more situations that you'll deal with. The standard, like the average is 120 hours. I think I got the 160-hour certificate. So let's assume you like money. How do you get a TEFL certificate? Well, you can do what I did. You type in TEFL certificate on a search engine and look at the options and choose the one that sounds good to you. All you have to look out for is that the institution selling the TEFL course is internationally accredited. And there are other websites where you can type internationally accredited TEFL courses, TEFL programs, and it'll tell you which ones are accredited. If it's not accredited, it means nothing. It doesn't matter how nice their diploma is or certificate. Your training, your course won't mean anything in other countries. So make sure that it is an internationally accredited program. And for that reason, the next question, well, which one should I get then? I have TEFL Full Circle. I would recommend you also get TEFL Full Circle because that one is internationally accredited. So you're going to receive all of those advantages I talked about earlier. And they have a perpetual Groupon. It's been on Groupon for, I don't know, like a decade or something. And it's basically always $35, $37, $33, less than $40. And TEFL certifications can cost a couple $100 easy. And if you go to their website, I think it says $200 or $300 for the TEFL Full Circle course. But this is the course I still recommend to people, and when I had to get my teachers a TEFL certificate or they wanted one, I just told them type in Groupon, TEFL Full Circle. That's the course you want to take. That one is a fully PDF online course. You do all the work, like I said, at your own pace, online. You take PDF tests each time you finish reading a chapter. After you pass all of the PDF tests, it's a UK-based company. You are entered into their registry as an internationally accredited English teacher, teacher of English as a foreign language, and you're done. You give it 15 hours, and you have instant job security for the foreseeable future. The ability to travel anywhere. Yeah, it's just so many benefits for such a low investment. I definitely think it's worth the $35. And I think the course itself is worth it. It's a little standard, it's not very exciting, but it does provide you very useful information. That one specifically, that's the course that I did in my Taiwanese water park. You study for a week or two, finish those tests, more money, instant job security. just all of the advantages right away. It's a pretty good deal. It might be the difference between a job you like and a job you don't. Maybe if you don't have the certificate, you won't feel confident applying for jobs that sound better, or that have certain classroom requirements that you would be unfamiliar with if you didn't take the TEFL course. Might be. It's totally up to everybody. Everybody has their own situation, and everybody has to decide for themselves how they want to go through life and how you want to approach your professional life. Do you need the TEFL or other certifications to become an English teacher abroad? No way. In no way do you need a certification. As a fluent English speaker, there are thousands of jobs all across Asia that you can get at a moment's notice. But there are so many advantages to getting the TEFL certificate that I usually recommend it to people looking to travel or looking to start teaching English abroad. And that's pretty much it. TEFL teaches you how to teach English as a foreign language. It has every advantage you could want in a certification for an industry. You should probably get the certificate just because it'll be easier for every single part of you finding a job and getting higher pay and all of that. And yeah, I like TEFL Full Circle. I recommend them. A fully online course with PDF tests that ends in a lifetime accreditation. Really can't go wrong there. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.